Zillow has released a whole new month of housing market data, and we find an interesting turn in their forecast compared to just 6 months ago. Things are changing fast in the housing market, and Zillow's extensive statistics files allow one to zero in on the most interesting trends. Longtime viewers of our channel know that we obtain housing data from numerous sources around the internet to provide a broad, unbiased view of housing market conditions. So if you are new here and think that I'm giving credence to Zillow or its business model, you can be assured that it's just their turn in our reporting cycle. It is difficult to find impartial, credible sources for analytical data on housing. I turn to Zillow every quarter to see the market from its point of view. One great benefit of using Zillow market data is that it's far more timely than most national reporting sites with similar market coverage. This means that you'll discover something today you wouldn't find anywhere else. This graph reports Zillow's estimate number of unique properties sold each month. The blue bars measure the number of homes sold, while the yellow bars report the year-over-year change in sales. When the yellow bars rise above the horizontal axis, unit sales have grown. When the yellow bars fall below the horizontal axis, unit sales have declined. Sales through July show that for 13 straight months, home sales have declined in the U.S. This is non-seasonal information, as each month's change compares to the same month in the year prior. For example, the number of homes sold in July 2022 was 25% fewer than the number of homes sold in July 2021. The big questions this graph raises are, why are home sales declining, and is 25% fewer sales alarming? The primary driver of declining home sales are found here. This graph plots the 30-year average fixed mortgage interest rate since 1971, and the most recent months might shed some light on the decline in home sales. When I was preparing this graph on August 28th, I checked the Mortgage News Daily website, and it reported that the current rate was 5.73%, while the 1 year ago rate was 2.91%. The drastic change in mortgage interest rates means that the cost of money for home buyers has pushed up 97% in just 1 year. It has been my experience that a sudden, large change in mortgage interest rates has a short-term impact on the number of home sales that occur, but after about 9 or 10 months, the market becomes accustomed to prevailing rates. Today, it is quite clear that rising mortgage interest rates have cooled buyer demand, and remembering the housing collapse in 2006, you might be concerned that the supply of homes for sale is rising out of control. If you are a longtime subscriber, then you know I often share how a market behavior impacts the supply and demand balance for homes, as this dynamic controls home price movement. If you're not a subscriber, please click the thumbs up like button and subscribe now that you get all my new content when it is fresh. If you want to know what's going on in housing, to see and hear the data explained, to evaluate the facts and ignore the hype that is so prevalent online, then subscribe now and I will keep you in the know. We have discussed the current reduction of demand in the market, so now let's see how it is impacting the supply of homes for sale. In this graph, Zillow reports the number of unique listings active in each given month since the beginning of 2019. The blue field measures the number of listings, while the red line plots the year-over-year change in inventory. Look where the red line crosses the dashed blue line in 2019, as that is when the market shifted from inventory growth to inventory reduction. In 2019, the market was already slightly skewed to sellers as inventory levels were below 6 months of supply. As time progressed, the low supply level worsened and bidding wars among buyers became the norm. The 2019 inventories were roughly 600,000 homes too few, yet homebuilder production did not step up to fill the void. So rather than seeing rising inventories accompany rising mortgage interest rates, we've experienced the opposite effect. The inventory decline is not so apparent to people who do not track market behavior regularly. With builders representing a much smaller segment of today's current inventory, compared to the 20+% in 2006, the existing homes inventory has greater control of the growth or decline of inventory levels. Today, when a buyer opts out of the market due to affordability, it often is a buyer who would have also had a home to sell. Thus, a buyer leaving the market results in a seller leaving the market in roughly 50% of the cases. The move up and move down buyers have slowed, so inventory growth has slowed with the decline of demand. With both supply and demand declining, you might wonder what Zillow is reporting about home prices. This graph plots the median prices at which homes across the U.S. were listed and sold. The blue field in the graph shows the median list price, while the red line shows Zillow's estimate of the median home sales price during the same period of time. The blue field shows the seasonal pattern on the median list price, with prices starting low at the beginning of the year, moving higher during the summer, and then falling slightly towards the end of the year. The median sales price does not move similarly. I believe the change in the median list price over time reveals two seasonal norms. First, home prices generally rise, so it makes sense that end-of-year asking prices are higher than the beginning of the year asking prices. Second, sellers who tried too high of an asking price earlier in the year end up dropping their prices to get sold before the end of the year. Remember, a homeowner can ask any price they like, but to get sold, they have to meet the market at the right price. We typically see the median list price peak in June and decline for the remainder of the year. This is significant because many people seem to be reporting that list prices are falling, yet they should have been reporting the same message every August in the past. The red line shows that there is no actual inter-year cycle for home prices. They just generally rise. The red line has been rising faster of late, but I think the declining number of sales will flatten it out to where prices are growing at more normal rates. The average home price growth over the last 80 years is 5.2% per year. While I'm not telling you home prices cannot drop, I am saying that Zillow data is reporting growth through July. So if Zillow is reporting rising home prices, how is it that so many people are commenting or sharing that they see their local home prices dropping? Is it just a few fringe markets that are declining, or is there something more going on with home prices that Zillow is not seeing? Zillow's formula for estimating the U.S. median home price smooths out the jagged edges that truly exist in home price movement. I have produced numerous videos in the past showing how home prices have generally risen over the past 130 years, but I think a closer look at how prices really move is in order. This graph shows the U.S. median home price every quarter from the beginning of 2013 through the second quarter of 2022. It's important to note that this is not a Zillow estimation of the median. Rather, the data here is provided by FRED, the Federal Reserve Economic Data website that most economists use for tracking housing. Home prices have risen much faster than normal over the past 10 years, yet this graph shows that during that strong appreciation period, there were quarters and even half years where the median home price fell. This is why we cannot get too excited about a report that shows the median home price falling in a month, or even more. We have to give the market enough time to show us what is truly happening. Now, this is the extended view of Zillow's estimate of the median home price, measuring the typical home value for single-family homes, condominiums, and co-ops, including market changes across the United States. It reflects the typical value of homes in the 35th to 65th percentile. In other words, it approximates the median by swiping the middle third of the market and analyzing it over time. If you look closely at this graph, you'll see that Zillow has reported home values from 2000 through July of next year because their data set includes past data plus a forecast that home values will rise 2.7% over the next 12 months. Just as a reference to how conservative Zillow's estimate has become, it estimated 17.3% annual growth back in January, 6 months ago. Zillow's Home Value Index provides a great perspective on the toxic decline in home affordability. When we compare the slope of price growth over the past 2 years to the slope of price growth during the housing bubble, it's an alarming image. In fact, it's so disturbing that it's causing people to use faulty logic to forecast falling home prices. As an oversimplification, it goes something like this. Today's prices are too high and nobody can afford them. This means that nobody will be buying homes and home prices will drop. While I understand the frustration that leads to that kind of thinking, it unfortunately assumes that everybody already is living somewhere that they either own or that they rent with some guarantee that their rental rate will not be increased. But that is simply not the case, as we'll see in our next graph. Rents are exploding higher too. Zillow's observed market rental rate data explains why there's no housing bubble forming, yet conditions are worse than during the bubble of 2006. Like the previous graph, Zillow takes a swipe from the middle of the market rents to approximate the median rental rate over time. The blue area measures the rental rate index each month, the median rent, while the red line plots the year-over-year percentage change each month. It is this red line that is disturbing. As the inventory of homes for sale has declined, so has the inventory of homes for rent. People who must move today have no good choice between buying versus renting a home. The cost for each has exploded, and people who are renting are finding that the renewal rates are through the roof. In July, the median rental rate of $2,031 was more than 13% higher than the median rental rate of $1,794 recorded in July 2021. Can you imagine if your monthly rent was increased from $1,800 to $2,000 per month? If the growth rate remains the same over the next year, the median unit will rent for $2,300 per month, a rent hike of more than $500 monthly in just 2 years. I often receive comments from viewers saying they're waiting for home prices to fall. I certainly understand the feeling, but I wonder, where are they living while they're waiting? Are they waiting in a home they own? Meaning, if their assumption is correct, their home price will fall too. Or are they waiting in a rental property where their lease renewal will hurt so badly? The rapid rise in rental rates is the smoking gun that explains just how troubled the housing market has become. When people get priced out of the for sale market, they no longer can turn to the for rent market, as they will be priced out of that too. Most people do not realize that when home prices crashed after the housing bubble, rents kept moving higher. That was a sign that we did not interpret correctly, as it was a signal that despite the large inventory of homes for sale, there were not enough homes built in America. Today, we have soaring prices, soaring rents, and a near historically low supply of homes for each market. The plummeting demand that caused the inventory imbalance in 2006 was caused by government involvement that took away loan options for nearly all but the wealthiest of borrowers. Loan qualification standards were pushed far higher than ever in the past by a government intent on slowing a perceived out-of-control housing market. And slow it they did. Since the bubble burst, we have seen a significant slowdown in the number of residential units built to house our growing population. Unfortunately, inflation has pushed the cost of new construction to a level where the median homebuyer cannot be served. The more I study housing data from various sources, the more I am convinced we are rapidly heading towards a renter nation. Wall Street giants are purchasing homes to take advantage of rising rents and rising prices. In an industry where there has never been centralized control of home prices and rental rates, we'll begin to see both dictated by these large masters after they consume an unhealthy portion of our homes. If you feel like I'm saying home prices will never fall, I've done a poor job of explaining myself. We have seen fluctuations in the median home price often in the past, and will see the same in the future. But viewers who comment that prices will drop by 20% in 6 months are totally ignoring the supply and demand dynamic that will eventually push home prices far higher. If you have followed the video to this point and have a different take on the data, please share your thoughts in the comments section below. If you want to see a video featuring my response to 7 unique housing market rumors, you can view it by clicking on the box on the top left corner of your screen. To see a video response to Redfin's Falling Home Prices report, just click on the box below it. Please remember to like this video, check out the links below, and subscribe to our channel so that you never miss anything.